everyone. We who are parents know that we are entitled to our children's glorious days as well, right? In fact, when we're parenting at our best, their glorious days are our most glorious days as well, too. Sometimes it's because we were the one who introduced them to the sport or the hobby or the theater or took them to practice or rehearsal or did all those things that let them be successful in what they did. Sometimes we're just the one standing on the sideline. In this story, I was sitting in a donut shop 200 yards away, eating donuts, drinking coffee, and reading a book. Now, I should tell you in full and fair disclosure where I am in my own life right now. If you ask me to pick a glorious day, I might just say sitting in a donut shop, eating donuts, drinking coffee, and reading a book. So everything else might be the icing on the proverbial cake here, but I want to tell you this story about my own son. When my son was a freshman in college, we were trying to plan, while he was still in school, our summer vacation. We also have a younger daughter, and anyone who is a parent and has done this before, planning vacations is a lot of negotiation, right? And a lot of frustration. One wants to do, one doesn't want to do. And at this point, he was old enough and he didn't like flying or hotels, and we thought he wouldn't say yes. So we said, hey, we're going to go on vacation this summer as a family. He said, no, I don't really want to do it. I said, we're going to San Francisco. He said, count me in. He said, I want to go to the Intel Museum. He said, I want to go to Apple's campus and go around the Infinity Loop. He said, I want to walk around the neighborhood where Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak walked around when they were thinking up the Apple computer. I want to do those things. Can we do those things? And we said, absolutely, we'll do those things. So a couple days later, he said, by the way, I'm going to meet Steve Wozniak when we're out there. I said, really, how? He said, I'll work it out. Okay. 2 days later, he's sitting on the sofa talking to his phone. You can do that now, right? He says, Siri, I want to know Steve Wozniak's private email account. I know no such account. Siri, I want to know the Woz's private email account. I know no such account. So this is your plan to meet Steve Wozniak? He said, don't worry, I got it. Right? So I think no more about this, and we're planning the vacation. We're working on all the stops he wants to see along the way. My wife is excited because she loves doing the planning. And around a week out, I say, tongue-in-cheek, although he doesn't understand this, hey, how's it going with the Woz? He said, not yet, but I'll get it worked out. And I thought nothing more of it. On the way to the airport on a Saturday morning, I said, so you meeting the Woz? And he said, well, he and his wife are celebrating their anniversary this weekend, so I can't talk to him until Monday. Sure, yeah. And then you're going to call the Woz, and then we're going to meet him, right? So we fly to California, we go out to Half Moon Bay, and we're having a great vacation. We're doing all the things he wants to do, the tech stuff, and we're having a great time. And it's around Wednesday in the week, and we're driving up to San Francisco so we can spend the rest of the time in the city. And I don't bring up the Woz anymore. I figured it's not worth talking about. It's Wednesday. We're leaving in a couple days. We check in our new hotel. We eat dinner. We're sitting around for a while. The kids go to their hotel room. We go to our hotel room. 11:30 at night, there's a knock on the door. I open it up, and it's my son holding up his smartphone. He said, you need to drive me down to Cupertino tomorrow. I'm having lunch with the Woz. And he showed me a cell phone. He's having lunch at a Chinese restaurant with the Woz. So we have to change our plans. And I take my wife and my daughter to an outdoor mall in Stanford, and they're going to mani-pedi and do whatever they do, right? And my son and I get in the car to go down to Cupertino, and I know where they're meeting. He tells the Chinese restaurants across from the Infinity Loop there. So I had seen the donut shop when we were there before. I know where I'm going to go, right? And we're driving in the car, and there's this excitement in the car. You can feel it, right? He's not talking, but he is giddy without words. And we're in the car, and after some silence, he says, hey, Dad, I should probably buy them lunch, shouldn't I? And I said, yes, you should, son. He said, yeah, I thought so. And we drive for another couple miles in silence. He says, hey, Dad, you got any cash? I said, well, yes, I do, son. Thanks, Dad. We drive the rest of a couple more miles down the road, and he says, hey, Dad, just so you know, you're not coming to lunch with us, right? Yeah, there's a donut shop across the street. I got a book. I'm fine. So I sat 200 yards away, drinking coffee, eating donuts, reading a book, which, again, for me is a glorious day. He spent 2.5 hours with Steve Wozniak and his wife talking technology, talking business. He came back with this huge grin on his face, and I'm living his glory with him right there. He said, Dad, I really can't even talk about it right now. I just have to process it all. Is that okay? I said, yeah, that's okay. And we get in the car and we start driving. We're maybe 10 minutes up the road. He goes, just one thing I want to say. And I said, yeah. He said, that's the best $50 I ever spent. And I didn't, that would have been the time to remind him it was my $50 and he couldn't really lose on that deal, right? But I didn't. I let it go at that point because his glory was my glory. And you know, they tell you telling a story, beginning, middle, end. The end of the story is the story hasn't ended yet. He made some great friends that day. He learned some really important business points. He started his own company. He's 21 years old. He's a CEO. He's got 18 people reporting to him. He's got so many glorious days ahead of him. And if you haven't figured this out yet, they're all going to be mine too. Thank you.